So this is not a video I was expecting to make anytime soon or ever really. But a few days ago, my friend and I were out on a ride, and we were riding pretty fast, pretty spiritedly. Spent a lot of time at Redline, spent a lot of time shifting through the gears. And towards the end of the ride, when I went to pass a few cars, I felt a really bad vibration, heard a really bad grinding noise, and the bike shut off on me. I thought I locked the rear wheel, and so I instantly pulled in the clutch and coasted to the side of the road. And when I stopped on the side of the road, there was a huge plume of smoke coming out of the left side of the engine here and not out the exhaust. So, to me, something really bad happened. I ended up getting the bike trucked home, thanks to my friend's dad. And now that the bike is finally back in my garage, I'm going to try and figure out what happened. Even after pulling over, I couldn't get the bike out of gear. I think I was in, fourth gear at the time. And I was able to get it to move a little by really stomping on it, but it feels terrible. Like, it's so crunchy and it's really hard to move. I can't really get it to move more than one or two clicks. And that's despite having the clutch in, clutch out, trying to roll the wheel, roll the bike. Nothing really seems to matter. So it just seems like it's kind of frozen. However, since the clutch still works and I was able to thankfully roll off the road, I figured if the engine was still good, I would be able to get the transmission to disconnect and see if the bike would crank. So there we go. I don't even think the bike is in neutral right now, but the light at least turns on and that allows the bike to crank. The bike won't crank if it's not in neutral. But the weird thing is you can see that if the light is on here, but the wheel still does not turn. Something is really locked up there. So if I try and crank it, and you can see here, I've got it hooked up to the charger. The battery is only a few months old, and before I started recording, this was actually green, and I got impatient and tried to crank it. But I'll show you what happens. Nothing. It doesn't even crank. Not even like a weak crank from an old battery. It's just completely seized. And that happens whether I've got the clutch in or out. So I'm pretty sure it's broken. But the first thing I'm going to do is drain the oil and see what comes out. So far it looks okay, I guess. No big chunks or anything that I was expecting. So I'll have to keep digging through and see what else we can find. Okay, so my plan now is to just go ahead and start tearing the bike down. So I'm going to start by pulling the fairings and the tank off just to try and get to the top of the engine. I think I'm just going to pull the spark plugs out first, see if I can get the wheel to turn without any compression. And if that doesn't work, then I'm just going to pull the valve cover off because I'll be right there anyway. And see if the top of the engine shows us what went wrong. I'm thinking maybe the timing chain might have broken or come off. So if that's the case, then I'll definitely be trying to pull the whole engine out to take the head off and maybe get into the bottom end, see if we could figure out why the transmission doesn't work either. And here is the first of the engine carnage. Wait a second. I think that's the wrong one. Here is the first of the engine carnage. Yeah, that whole thing is gone. It took me a while to actually unscrew it out of the valve cover, so I figured something was wrong with it. So this side was okay. this side took me forever to get out, and that's what we're looking at. So first of the engine carnage. And looking back at the old oil, there was actually a lot of stuff that came out with it. So a lot of shiny bits that kind of settled overnight because I let everything sit in the pan. So I'm going to keep tearing down, and we'll see what it looks like under the valve cover. Okay, and I'm now taking the valve cover off, and let me grab a light actually so you can see. There you go. Yeah, there's not really any carnage in there that I could see. So I guess everything is okay in the head. I was expecting the timing chain to maybe not be there anymore. I figured that was the issue. Maybe I think some of these earlier 650 engines had some issues with the timing chain tensioner and the timing chains failing. So I thought maybe that was it, but it looks like that wasn't the case. However, with that spark plug that I showed you, I'm guessing that maybe it dropped a valve or something that I can't tell from above. And you might have dropped a valve from above and then smashed the spark plug off as well. So it looks like I'm going to have to pull this whole engine out, which I've never done, so that's going to be interesting. But hey, the whole motor's junk at this point, so I'm not too worried about just kind of diving in blindly. So I'm going to try and pull everything out, and then I can separate the head from the rest of the engine, and we can kind of look at what the pistons look like. I'm pretty excited to do that. And then I really want to see why the shifter's not working still, because no matter what I do, I showed you in previous videos, but it's really stuck, right? And I don't think it's actually shifting gears. It's just kind of doing something. So something's wrong down there as well. So I'd love to be able to split the cases. I'm not sure how far I'm going to get with that, but definitely will keep you posted. The engine is out. So it wasn't too bad, honestly. I mean, some of these things like the connectors, you're basically just trying to unplug them, and some of them are not the easiest to get out. And then unhook your controls, a couple brackets here and there. Really the hardest part was my front sprocket nut was super tight, so I ended up having to kind of step on the breaker bar to get that out. But yeah, I think for my first engine pull, it only took me a few hours. Now, I think putting it back in would be a lot harder. I don't think it'd be impossible. I think I could do it. And the cool thing is most of these are different, right? So they only go into one spot. So it's just a matter of connecting everything up. And the wires are all the perfect length that it should be pretty self-explanatory where they go. But to be honest, I don't think I'm going to put another engine back in this bike just because it's already pretty old. You can see it's pretty beat. And I just don't think it makes sense to spend $1,500 putting a new engine into this one when it's maybe worth $2,500 to $3,000 running. It's already got 50,000 miles, so maybe I'll try and sell some parts. If there's anything that you might want, let me know. There's some pretty good parts, like I got a hydraulic clutch lever here, a lot of good usable stuff, a lot of luggage and other parts. But yeah, I think I'm going to end the video here. I got to clean up the garage so it's not such a huge mess. And in the next video, I am going to try and take this apart. I think, hopefully, the head will come off pretty easily. Just should be a couple bolts. I'm going to pull the cams again, pull out the head bolts, separate that, and hopefully we will be able to see some carnage, because judging by the spark plug here, we got some presents inside. So hopefully I'll be able to get that done soon. And yeah, if you made it this far, again, thanks for watching. I've never done this before. It's quite exciting, even though it was very unexpected. About a week ago, or even up to a few days ago, up till Saturday, I never would have thought I would be pulling an engine out of my commuter. So yeah, cool. Well, anyway, thanks for watching.